is KLEAN Radio.
Welcome, everybody out there listening to KLEAN Radio, a show about addiction, recovering from addiction and mental illness. And we have a great show for you actually tonight. Of course, my co-host Andrew Spanswick is in studio. Andrew is an advocate for policy change in mental health, as well as being the owner of KLEAN Treatment Centers and an all-around good man. And
well, thank you, Judah.
And also in studio tonight, we have the amazingly talented. You know how good of a guest she is? Is that she ended up in our promo.
I know the promo of the show that she came back and we have her in our promo.
It's only because I said I did Larry King.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's funny, and that's Claudia Christian, and it's actually very funny because I didn't catch that joke. I should have jumped on that one. Not that did he know you were there. So tonight you're gonna have to say you did Larry King recently, and then we could joke about that. And I want to welcome everybody out there. Go to Facebook.com/KLEAN Radio. Post your comments. We're going to be talking a little bit about Rob Ford tonight, the mayor of the mayor of Toronto, and we're going to be. He checked into a rehab, and he openly admitted that he has a problem with alcohol.
Right, and the crack magically dropped into his
we have no
crack pipe.
Right, we have no not mentioning the video of him smoking crack. But so I'd love to talk about that a little bit because I do think there is, and Andrew, we've noticed that in the field. You notice that people tend to, choose what addiction they want to share about, which is it's like, okay, I can admit I'm an alcoholic, but nobody wants to actually say out loud, well, I'm addicted to crack.
Yeah, like crack's still considered sort of like a lower class ghetto drug. It's always kind of funny though, because the heroin addicts are lauded often as better addicts than bottom drunk alcoholics.
Right.
And crack addicts are thought of as worse than but really everybody's suffering from the same problem. They just got a different drug of choice. So.
That's exactly right. And years ago I was actually in rehab with somebody. This is about 18 years ago, and in upstate New York, and he had this huge blister on his lip. And he was in such denial, and he couldn't share that he told he'd rather share it with people that he had herpes than he had been smoking.
Then he'd burn his
and he admitted that he was addicted to cocaine, but he couldn't say. He totally. I mean, it was insane. So welcome to KLEAN Radio.
Yeah, right. Now that we've cleared up the difference between herpes and crack pipe burns.
And I want to thank our publicist Monique Moss. I want to tell you, it's actually very funny. Claudia Christian's in studio tonight, and the way we actually got to you is I had asked Monique. Monique got you confused with another actress, and what's amazing is and I'm so glad that she accidentally did that, because then we've gotten to
now that I'm here for the second time. Do you know who I am?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good.
And what's even odder is. Never mind, it doesn't matter.
No,
and
please,
so
share.
No, we want to hear the otter part.
I had you confused with an other actress that had alcohol problems.
Angelina Jolie, right?
Exactly.
Everybody makes that mistake.
You're way more beautiful than Angelina Jolie. And
the BS meter's flying.
It's just Judah's glasses.
Judah's got very thick glasses, by the way, for anybody out there.
Oh, by the way, he's getting thicker ones. Yes. He just found out, and he's very depressed about it.
So you confused me with another actress who wrote a book about alcohol.
With Yancey Butler.
Oh,
and so that's actually a good...
but she was cocaine.
Well, no, she was... I don't know what she was, but, she had public... it was public, all the troubles and stuff she had, gotten into. I didn't know you had... what actress doesn't have troubles, right?
What actor, actress, producer, director, guy that works in the grocery store...
Yes.
Food addiction, whatever addiction, there's a ton of addictions out there.
So you're an author. You have so many credits to your name, and just tons of credits. But you're also now an advocate for. What are you an advocate for?
I'm an advocate for a treatment for alcoholism called the Sinclair Method, and I started a nonprofit last year called the C3 Foundation, and I've been counseling and helping people since about 2010. And I've got a very, very high success rate. In clinical trials, it has a 78% long-term success rate. But for me personally, I have about a 95% success rate. And I think that's because I help people personally as well, so I keep on top of them. They don't just go home, take the pill, read the book. So,
so just for our listeners out there, the Sinclair model is really about the extinction.
It's based on Pavlovian,
extinction models.
Yeah,
right?
extinction. It's pharmacological extinction. So you basically take an opiate blocker before you drink, 1 hour before you drink, and over a period of anywhere from 3 to 9 months, you end up without cravings and really not wanting to drink. About 30 to 40% of people go completely sober, and the rest go back to safe drinking levels.
And so, do you see other addictions come out?
I actually do. I've had a tri-addiction fellow, pornography, gambling, and alcohol, and cocaine, actually 4 addictions. And he was helped with naltrexone when he went on the Sinclair method.
And that worked with everything?
It worked for everything. Yeah, he had to target it, though. It was like, you have to take it an hour before you start
open
gambling,
your porno mag?
an hour before you start opening the computer.
Before you get on the computer?
And I guess it makes sense that you go online and you gamble, watch porn, and drink at the same time and do a couple lines of coke. I mean, so everything was sort of at the same time. So
that wasn't my Saturday night.
That was convenient. It wasn't my Saturday night either, believe me. I was doing Shakespeare yesterday. So
you did Larry King last show,
yeah, I
and
did
now she did Shakespeare this show.
I know, it's amazing how I can do a 450-year-old man.
Right?
Wow. I tell you, he's hot.
You are sci-fi. You are sci-fi porn, I think.
I'm a time traveler.
You are a time
traveler, indeed.
So here's the thing, though. I mean, and we deal with this a lot. We're talking about Tom Ford. Most addicts.
It's not Tom Ford.
I mean,
He's
Rob
the
Ford.
designer.
Rob Ford's the designer.
Rob Ford. We're talking about Rob Ford.
Or Tom Ford. He's in the Jay-Z song, though, so I could see why you get it all mixed up.
Thank you for. I like that, Andrew.
There you go. I'm trying to give you an out.
Thank you, and that's exactly why.
Yes.
So Rob Ford is cross-addicted. He's got alcoholism. He's smoking crack, and so your method doesn't necessarily work for that.
Well, it does work for opiate addiction, and it works for alcoholism very well. It works for gambling, and pretty soon they're going to come out with naloxone spray for binge eating. However, some people do find that because when they drink, they do cocaine, that it does help with cocaine. Crack, I'm not sure at all. I know it doesn't work for heroin. I've never heard it working for crack. I've heard it being tested with meth addicts, and I do know it works for opiate addiction. And alcoholism is the best one, but a lot of gamblers have told me that it really cured them. So,
have you seen a lot of reducing and flat affect or anhedonia, low-level depression?
The interesting thing about taking an opiate blocker is you really have to be conscious about on your days off from doing the opiate blocker, whether it's nalmefene, naloxone, or naltrexone, that you engage in really good activities, working out, having sex, eating spicy foods that release normal endorphins. And then,
because you're blocking the natural reward system of the brain.
However, you're targeting. See, that's the difference between taking naltrexone every day, which your doctor tells you to take it every day and remain abstinent. That's really in the long term not causing extinction. What you're doing is you're blocking your good endorphins.
Right.
If you target it, you take it 1 hour before, so it's in your brain when you have that drink of alcohol, it's blocking those particular endorphins.
So you have to be able to be aware, though, of what your triggers are. So there's a lot of therapy that has to go along with this treatment, right?
Not necessarily. Some people absolutely need therapy with it. Other people aren't drinking because they had a bad childhood or anything. They're drinking because they became addicted.
But that's like the rare case. I mean, that's like the stripper that just enjoys stripping. I mean, most of them.
Where do you come up with these things?
No, most of them become that because obviously there are issues. Most people just don't start you become an alcoholic because there are usually underlying symptoms.
Or you have the genetics and you drink.
Right. I think there's several different types of alcoholism.
There's several. There's
right.
so
like
many
it's like
different
cancer.
kinds.
There's different kinds of cancer,
Totally.
but certainly alcoholism.
But for the biological addict, this is this is a wonderful thing. Now, for the biological addict who also has underlying issues, I think it's wonderful to also have therapy along with it. And I'm certainly, but as I was saying before, on your days off, if you engage in those good activities, you actually become very prone, not addicted, I don't want to use that word, but you become prone to desiring working out and that
healthier choices.
Healthier choices, exactly. And you get a really great endorphin rush from those.
So you're actually trying to redirect the reward system back to healthier choices.
Exactly.
And if you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio in the studio tonight with Claudia Christian, actress, author, all around great gal. And you've actually dedicated your life recently to helping with, you started a nonprofit last year to help alcoholics, help gamblers, help porn addicts.
Mostly, I work with alcoholics. If they have a dual or tri issue, then I can help that. But mostly, I work with alcoholics and their families. Yeah.
So, to the people that are listening, you're essentially saying for alcoholism, the Sinclair method is the cure.
No, I'm not.
Or is one of them.
I'm saying that it's an incredible option for all the people who traditional treatment failed. And I don't like to say that the addict failed. I'm saying that treatment failed the addict. A lot of people try everything that's out there, from moderation to rehab to AA to hypnotherapy to classical psychotherapy. They try vitamin therapy. I tried everything. I know that. And I tried it with every inch of my heart in 16 different meetings in 12 countries. I mean, you know, I really, really wanted to get better. It's not like I was dicking around. And
that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, we talked about Larry King and Shakespeare earlier. No, you know, so when I found this, I realized that there's a huge percentage of alcoholics out there that keep relapsing. In fact, I ran into a woman the other night who has been in AA for 22 years, and she said she's got a number of friends who continue to relapse, and she said, well, this might be an option for them to get extinction, get sober, then go back to the meetings, instead of white-knuckling it through the cravings. Some people's cravings are off the chart, and some people relapse in a more consistent and dramatic way than other people because they simply cannot handle being sober without the extinction of the cravings. And that's what this helps that type of alcoholic. So for me, I think it's just a wonderful option. My byline of my nonprofit is options save lives, period.
I like the idea of using it in a harm reduction model. And, you know, we're just opening up our new IOP, intensive outpatient in Hollywood. We just got licensed this month. And we just moved into the 9,000 building on Sunset.
I just opened one at Alternatives in Beverly Hills, and unfortunately, only doctors showed up for the first time because they were interested in using the same model.
Seeing
whether it would go. I think a lot of patients that are in that particular environment aren't really, I don't know if they're really ready or if they trust it, or, you know, it's just something that not many people know about.
Well, I've always wanted to do an outpatient evening-based harm reduction track and taking the ideas of harm reduction. So if people are using, they're still welcome to come. And Sinclair model would be an interesting model to use with our alcoholic
I'll help you.
people in that. We should get together and work on that.
Yeah, but why is it? Great. But why is it, do you think, I mean, that more people don't know about this?
Well, there's first of all the finances. Let's face it, rehab gets up to $1,000 a day, and this pill costs about $1 a pill, and the more you use it, the less you need it. It's not patented. There's no pharmacological pharma company that's going to get behind it and say, oh yeah, naltrexone is going to make us a fortune. Because the more you use it, the less you need it. So, and there's no patent. So, for instance, the NHS recently, last year, they approved Silincro, which is nalmefene, which is not processed through the liver. They approved it. They pay for it for people, but doctors are still completely oblivious as to how to prescribe it. And they call it the anti-binge drinking pill. And they say for the cost of a pint of beer, you can now curb your drinking and
people
get back
in Britain
to safe
don't
levels.
think that they have a problem with
Well,
drinking.
no,
It's amazing.
No, they do, because it's off the charts right now, and because of it, the government actually went through and made this action and said, let's get Silincro out there and get it to people, because people are dying like crazy, and it's costing them billions of dollars in medical costs and car accidents, etc., lost days of work, etc. But the problem is doctors don't want to be liable. They don't want to say to the patient, take this an hour before you drink, because if the patient does drink to excess, then and does something stupid,
and
they're going to say, but my doctor told me to drink on it.
Pill and it wouldn't happen.
See,
I think it's also, for me personally, I think it's hard to understand. I'm sober a long time. It's hard for me to understand the magic pill.
Well, there's something about the idea that you still have to drink for it to work for a while, and so you're still engaging extremely dangerous behavior.
Yeah.
However,
while you're going through that process.
But what's more dangerous, drinking without naltrexone or drinking, or I mean, for somebody who literally
if those
can't
were the only two choices, there's more choices than that, though, right?
But these are for people, like I said, that every other treatment failed.
Right.
These are for people that every other they tried every other treatment, it didn't work for them, and these are also for people whose cravings and thought process about alcohol is off the charts.
Well, this is why I'd really love to work with you on this, because I think that therapeutically and creating the right sort of sense of milieu for the patients, and then also giving them like ideas like contracting and social contracting to limit their drinking even while they're taking naltrexone might be even more effective by using a real strong harm reduction therapeutic model along with the medication.
And encouraging them on their days off to engage in these good activities. But I can tell you, I've been on it for 5 years, and if you take it correctly and you comply, you don't want to get hammered.
Does it
period.
reduce sex drive? Because that's like one of the main problems we have with medication compliance. With
Not for
patients.
Claudia. Not that I know that.
I haven't heard that. The only thing that I've heard is in the beginning of going on the Sinclair method, a couple people have said, I'm a little blue, but these are people who
Blue isn't sad or the color.
Blue isn't sad, but these are people who are drinking 3 bottles of wine a night, and alcohol is a depressant, and of course they're just tapering off. Now a few months later they say, "Oh, I'm in a much better mood." Well, lo and behold, you're also only drinking 1 glass of wine a night, which is part and parcel of it.
And if you just tuned in, you are listening to Clean Radio. We're in studio tonight with Claudia Christian, actor, sober advocate, and a lot of things. And give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. One of the reasons we love doing the show is because we have dialogue, and we're actually talking about stuff that is somewhat, in a sense, is taboo, Andrew, to talk about, because we live in a society where I'm a member of the 12 Steps, where many there believe that's the only way, and there are other philosophies, other ideas that can work.
Well, clearly we haven't come up with some sort of real cure for addiction, and we haven't come up with a cohesive treatment method for everything, and that's because people are different. And people have different issues as to why they have addiction as well. And like we talked about earlier, there's clearly different types of addiction. There's people I know that the first time they ever took a drink, their eyes just glazed over and they're off to the races. And then there's other people that have progressive alcoholism that doesn't really get bad till they're in their 35 to 40. And then all of a sudden they find themselves with craving and dependency. So we know that there's different types of alcoholism. And then like you talk about cocaine, you mix cocaine, and we should probably talk about Rob Ford at this point, but you mix cocaine with alcohol and it creates a different drug.
Sorry, Tom Ford.
It's metabolized differently in your system. So people actually get addicted to that. And so if they drink, they get triggered to use cocaine because they don't really want the feeling from the alcohol. They want the feeling from the combination of the cocaine and alcohol. So they think they're just an alcoholic, and then, I slip up and do coke because I'm drunk. But the reality is that they're actually craving the combination of the two drugs. And a lot of people don't have the insight to see that. So.
But I also find that, I always walk around saying I'm one of the rare breeds. I'm one of the few people that drank. That was my,
You got some behavioral issues too, though, right?
A few, but I'm saying as far as, substance abuse.
Right.
Most people these days are cross-addicted. They smoke, whether it's heroin and alcohol, whether it's meth and all these different things.
Pure wino.
It's very rare that you meet the pure wino. Yeah. So, so a lot of the people that you're treating are most of them just pure wino?
Most of the
pure
people.
Winos.
Yeah, I know, it's horrible. I hate the word drunk and wino and shed-faced. I can't say that word, but all that stuff. I don't even like alcohol dependent, alcohol dependent. I just say, are you having problems with alcohol? Are you drinking too much? No, most of the people that I deal with are drinking too much. Period. There's maybe 1% that have dual or tri issues, but most of them are just either progressive. They've become later in life, like I did. It didn't hit me till my late 30s.
Right.
Until then, I was a light drinker in my 20s, normal drinker in my 30s, and then it just sort of hit me. Same as both of my grandfathers, same age that it hit them.
So nothing was going on. You just...
No, I had a great life. I had a wonderful life. I had friends that loved me. My family loved me.
And you were happy.
Beautiful home. I wasn't happy because I was drinking so much.
Right.
Alcohol, it makes you depressed if you drink that much. If you have 1 glass of champagne, it's lovely. You got 5 bottles, you don't feel so hot, that's the difference. And so for me,
But if you have 6,
if
no,
you
I'm just kidding.
No. Is that 1 extra? No, I didn't have, and I tried the whole psychotherapy route, and I realized it wasn't because I had a crummy childhood or my brother died, or that's not why I was drinking. I was drinking because I was physically addicted at that point. I couldn't stop. And when I would stop, that alcohol deprivation effect would build up and build up and build up until the point where the addict brain said, "You're not an alcoholic. You have 10 months sobriety."
But your use of alcohol was probably social, and then you must have been using it to self-medicate a lot of issues.
I was drinking
right?
it. No. I was drinking at home because I was craving it. because I wanted that bottle of wine at night.
But why were you drinking it up to the point where you were drinking at home and
social.
isolating?
Just social.
Just social.
Yeah.
I
had a lot of dinner parties.
It is a lot of dinner parties.
I had a wine cellar that had 2,000 bottles of French futures that ended up not becoming
There's nothing OCD about that, by the way.
But here's the thing, and it's like
no, not at all.
I think even Andrew, I think you're
Did you dust the bottles every day and did all the labels face the right way?
I just popped them open.
You just popped them open.
But I think one of the hard things I think even
I'm
Andrew's having a hard time understanding is it's so rare that you meet somebody in your with that situation. You might be one of the first people that I've ever met that just popped, that are explaining your type of alcoholism.
Especially these days, we're seeing so much, poly addiction, process addiction with multiple drugs plus alcohol. It seems like alcohol is almost like the water of,
it's funny.
And I believe you, by the way.
I just made a documentary, and I got to tell you something. Two of the people in the documentary are exactly like me. Yeah. One of them makes wine, and she suddenly realized that the thing that she makes, her successful career, suddenly she's becoming addicted to it. She had a wonderful life. Great boyfriend, raises dogs, beautiful life, right? Another guy, beautiful fiance, 2 wonderful kids, great job, same thing. He couldn't touch the stuff because once he would touch it, he'd go on a major binge.
Right.
And he wanted to be normal again. And he's been on the Sinclair method almost a year now.
And he was exactly like you. He just drank.
He was fine. It's just once you touch the stuff,
I got to meet these people. I mean, I'm being honest. I mean, I would love to have.
You've never met anybody who just simply got addicted, who just became an.
You're one of the first. You're one of the first. And I mean, Andrew. I mean, It's very rare for us to see
alcoholics.
Both of my grandfathers had great lives, happy marriages, everything was fine, successful careers.
But that being said, our treatment centers really do operate at, most of our clients are dual diagnosis.
But you do a lot of mental health stuff.
Yeah, we do. That's what I'm saying. We do a lot of psychiatric.
I'm dealing with straight alcohol
But I'm talking about in the years I've been in 12-step meetings, I've never met somebody, that came up to me and said, Judah, I have an alcohol problem. And I say, well, and they said, no, I've had a great life. I'm on a winning streak, and I'm terribly happy. I just have an alcohol problem.
They must all come to me because the majority of the people that I meet just say this is getting out of control, and I don't have some of them have bad marriages. Some of them obviously are going through slightly hard times or stressful times. There's housewives that are drinking too much because they've got 3 kids and one has special needs or something like that, and they're overwhelmed and stressed out. But the majority of the people that come to me just say, this is my secret. I'm hiding alcohol because I'm addicted to it. But other than that, I've got a great job. I love my wife. I mean, I don't think that's unusual.
Did you hear about that guy that won the lottery? It was $181 million. No. And then 2 days later, he found the woman of his life.
And if you just tuned in, that's Shecky. That is Shecky Spanswick, and you are listening to KLEAN Radio.
Shecky Green Spanswick.
Give us a call. Well, the calls are lining up. Give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. We're in the studio tonight with Claudia Christian, and we are having a lively discussion about what in a sense, we're talking about what is alcoholism, what is addiction, are there more than one? Is there more than one cure?
A treatment method.
A treatment method. And that's actually an interesting thing too, because that they used to use that word cured, and they don't use it.
Some people still do.
Some people still do. So give us a call. That's 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. We'll get to your calls when we come back from the break. Discussion continues at KLEAN Radio.
Don't let addiction to drugs or alcohol steal another year of your life. KLEAN Treatment Center provides world-class addiction assistance that also treats the underlying causes and provides vital aftercare so people can get clean and stay clean. Live, kind, professional help is standing by to provide immediate assistance or to simply answer questions and provide guidance. If you or someone you care about is suffering from addiction, take action now and make 2014 the best year of your life with KLEAN Treatment Center. Now back to Andrew Spanswick and Judah Friedman.
Welcome back to KLEAN Radio. We're in studio tonight with Claudia Christian, an amazing woman. And I got to give you amazing props because we're talking about a subject tonight. And obviously you've heard all the rebuttal, and I'm not, I don't think we're trying to do that. We're just trying to find out. And, about your approach to treating alcoholism and addiction, and it's hard. It's hard for a lot of people
to wrap their head around it. Listen, I've been accused of being being a spokesperson for the Sinclair method and being a paid. I'm like, first of all, it's a non-patented drug. Who's paying me? Because if someone can pay me, I'd love it. Believe me, I do all this on my own, from my own.
And you've paid for a lot of people's.
I've paid for people's medications. I've paid. I counsel people Skype for free for people all over the world. I do this because I love doing it and I love helping people. But a lot of people cannot wrap their head around the fact that it's so counterintuitive to tell somebody who's had issues with alcohol that they have to drink on this medication. And that's why doctors are so afraid of it. That's why families are so petrified to say, let's say the husband comes home and says, listen, there's one more treatment I want to try. And the wife says, wait a minute, it involves you drinking? Are you out of your mind?
Right.
I'm going to divorce you. And that's sad, because if they really look into it and they look at the science and they really read up on it, it makes sense for a lot of alcoholics to try this treatment. Not for everybody. I mean, other treatments work for other people, but this one works for a large percentage of people.
And if you just tuned in, you're listening to Clean Radio. We Facebooked a lot during the show, and our ombudsman, Buddy, has been taking notes on what people have been saying on Facebook. Buddy, what do we got?
Okay, so Corey says, I love it when my clients take naltrexone, so when they refuse it, it's a red flag telling us to keep a close eye on them. And let's see, we have Todd, who says, worst gut ache ever. Even with food, did nothing for me. And
so that's the pro. We had one pro and we had one con.
And then we have David, who says, I've taken it, but for it to work, you have to stop drinking. It wasn't sufficient alone.
You don't do it when you're abstinent.
Right.
You don't take naltrexone and remain abstinent, because then you're going to block the good endorphins.
Right.
Yeah.
So he said ultimately he needed a program to stop drinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
And thank you, Buddy. Does Delmer Buddy Totten, our ombudsman.
See, what I love about this idea, though, is that, and the reason that I really wanted to start a harm reduction track is that I really do believe that a lot of people are not ready to stop drinking, even if they really want to stop drinking.
Well,
and
how about if they're 21 years old and you say you can never have a drink again for the rest of your life? What are the chances of that? That they're really
the odds that they're going to go that they're going to go into treatment are very, very low. The odds they're going to succeed are low. And that's why I want to have a harm reduction track where it's actually like doing social contracting with people, saying, look, here's like what we would consider acceptable behavior if you're going to drink, and then let's also try this medication and see if that also adjusts your usage. Mm-hmm. And I think that could produce some really interesting outcomes.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, listen, I'm all for harm reduction. I got my first rehab was 18. My last drink was when I was 22. And in that time was pure harm reduction. It was between going to rehabs or whatever it is. It kept me alive until I was
But you realize that you're also one of the very rare birds. You call me a rare bird?
Right.
I mean, what? 8% of the population can quit anything on their own. The rest of us cannot.
Right, but I didn't quit on my own.
No, I understand that. You didn't quit on your own. However, the fact that you didn't relapse after the age of 22 is pretty damn impressive.
It is. I mean, well, thank you. But I'm also finding, I mean, there are a lot of young people these days that are getting sober. A lot, because the drugs are far more dangerous. It's catching up with them at a way quicker age.
Yeah, I mean, you start smoking meth, and you're 6 months out, you're like, it's like you've been drinking for 20 years.
There are kids in the UK that are alcoholic by the age of 10.
And hey, listen, and here's the thing about naltrexone. You try it, right? If you're going through that, what you're talking about, and like Andrew's talking about setting up a harm reduction type thing, where if it doesn't work, you need something. What's the worst that could happen is that it works.
That's my point. By setting up a contract, if it doesn't work, then you say, okay, then I'm going to try an abstinence-based treatment.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is I always encourage people to try everything they can until something fits, but you have to have options available. And when I hear about doctors unwilling to prescribe naltrexone to their patient, I think that's actually, I mean, would they withhold diabetes? Would they withhold medication that could save their lives in some other situation? I don't think so.
Well, we also have a culture now where we have this mixed message that one thing is like, there's a pill for everything, and people want a pill for everything. And this sort of like, this is sort of a weird thing where, and I'm not saying it's wrong. What I'm saying is that it is sort of counterintuitive that you're going to take a medication to then be able to still use and then stop. So it's like almost like a pill to stop you drinking, and then
it is counterintuitive. However, and I'm the last person in the world who ever wanted to take a medication. I don't even take aspirin. I hate cold medicine. I don't take anything. I even get my teeth done without Novocaine. I mean, that's how crazy I am about drugs.
Do you belong to the Church of Science?
No, I just don't like I don't like the feeling of drugs in my system. But this is the only thing that worked for me. So I have to. If I was going to do it, I had to take the naltrexone. And I would rather not. I would have rather done a drug-free, treatment for me that worked for me, but nothing else worked for me. And I know there's people out there that are like me because thousands of them contacted me.
Are you one of the? Are you one of the I'm not the founders, but are you you have 5 years?
I have 5 years.
That you've been doing amazingly well, and you're engaged, right?
Yeah.
And you have a wonderful life, and it's an amazing thing. How many people are like in your age range as far as
there in Finland? It was the go-to treatment for alcoholism for over a decade. There were 70,000 people that went on the Sinclair method and succeeded, and they are long timers, as you call them. It's like the old timers. So there are people with many, many more years than I have on the Sinclair method. I met a fellow that was a decade, a couple that are 12 years. Naltrexone was approved in 1994 for the use of treatment for alcoholism. Unfortunately, they were telling people to remain abstinent on it. So the Sinclair method didn't take off in America as it should have. But other countries, there are people that have been using it. So there's been hundreds and thousands of people who have been using the Sinclair method. We just don't know about it because we haven't heard about it.
You know what? Actually, we do have a call. I want to from somebody on the Sinclair method. If you just tuned in, you're listening to Clean Radio. Give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. In the studio tonight with Claudia Christian. Let's go to Gail, who's calling from Sonoma. Welcome to Clean Radio, Gail.
It's wine country.
Wine country.
Wine country. Is this your friend that you were actually talking about?
No.
Hi, Gail. Welcome to Clean Radio.
Different wino.
Different wino.
Different wino. Shocking. From Sonoma.
And I actually missed the last few minutes of your conversation because of a technological difficulty with your screener.
Yeah, we're having problems with the phone tonight. We apologize for that.
So
Gail, thank you for hanging out.
You're on the Sinclair method, Gail?
Yes, I've been using the Sinclair method now for about 6 months, and my alcohol intake is down by about a third.
Fantastic.
What I'd really like is for it to be down to moderate healthy levels, and I'm not sure. It feels as if I've kind of leveled off. I'm wondering.
No, that's the normal. You hit the honeymoon stage. Are you taking 50 milligrams?
That's a darn good question. I think I have to go look at the bottle before I can answer that question.
Well, a lot of people start with 25, but you have to get up to 50, and some people actually go up to 75 milligrams. And remember, extinction can occur anywhere from 3 to 12 months. Some people take 9 months is usually sort of the magic thing. So just hang in there and make sure you always take it 1 hour before you drink.
And you have to do that for the rest of your life.
You have to do that for the rest of your life, period.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Gail,
this is not.
But you could wake up in the next 2 months and never want to drink again. That happens to a lot of people after the 6-month thing. Right now, you're probably at that little level off thing. You should be keeping a drinking diary so you can make sure you can track your drinking as well.
Wouldn't you discourage? Do you discourage never drinking again, or isn't it supposed to be that you're able to do it?
Oh no, I encourage people
okay.
if they want to go sober, then absolutely. As I said, almost 40% of people do go completely sober. If your goal is sobriety, you can obtain that on the Sinclair method. If your goal is drinking the way you did in your 20s, like a couple drinks a week, you can also get there. I mean, it depends on what your goal is.
And Gail, let me ask you a question. Because I was asking this to Claudia because I'm still, wrapping my head around that part. What was life like? I mean, did you just drink because you enjoyed alcohol?
Well, I think it's a combination of factors for me. A lot of issues with childhood trauma and depression and PTSD and blah, blah, blah.
Well, it's not blah, blah, blah. It's that's serious. That's serious stuff you're talking about. That's the variety pack of issues.
Well, I have a shrink for the blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I did check the bottle. It's 50 milligrams that I'm taking now, and I'm taking it religiously an hour before I drink. But the fact that I drink all day, every day, means that I don't get any.
You know what? Why don't you try upping it to 75 milligrams?
Okay.
Okay.
Do those pills? You can just break one in half, and that'll work.
I would talk with your doctor about it first.
Yeah, you can ask your doctor, but a lot of people have to up it from the 6 to 9 month mark or 6 months to 1 year mark. It just gives them.
And is that a 75 milligram dose all at one time, or do you take?
Yeah, 1 hour before you drink.
And listen, Gail, be safe. And, give us a call back because
check in with us and let us know how it's
love to know how you're doing.
And, you can also email me through the C3 Foundation. It goes directly into my email account.
And you answer every email.
I answer every email myself, and I'd be happy to help you out, Gail.
And listen, Gail, try to, just be safe. I mean, it's...
And I have to tell you, Claudia, it was Babylon Confidential that introduced me to the Sinclair method. Yay.
And Babylon Confidential is that's a great thing. It's a great call. You got 2 shout-outs in one. You got the
thank
you. So Gail, just please keep safe. Let us know how you're doing. You're welcome to call us anytime.
Great.
Yeah, email me.
Or email Claudia. Claudia, what's the email address again?
It's claudia.christian@c3foundation.org. And you can just go to C3 Foundation, and you can go to that little, in the end, it says contact me, and you can just push that, and it goes right to me as well. C3 Foundation. Thank you.
All right, we recommend you do that 1 hour before you start drinking.
Yeah. Give me a call before you start drinking, Gail.
Andrew, that's one of the funniest
That's
jokes.
my funniest line yet? Really? That one?
I think you hit it there.
Yeah,
And Gail,
All right.
thank you so much for the call. Claudia, so Gail's struggling a little bit,
That happens.
Does it scare you? Does it scare you to party? Because it worked for you. What's the word? As somebody that's sober, I don't have a fear of saying to somebody after they've detoxed and they're not going to die of DTs. I don't have a problem with saying to them, try to stay sober.
Right.
But is it fearful for you? You hear somebody like Gail who's struggling, and to say, still try to moderate. Is there
No, because I know that if I don't know this, but I presume that she's tried everything else.
Right.
And I presume that if she doesn't take the naltrexone, that she's already cut her drinking by a third. Okay, so we're already a third of the way there. This is not an overnight cure. It's
right.
You are in remission once you reach extinction. Some people take longer than others, and some people have to go up to 100 milligrams. Every human being is different, and every person I've dealt with is different. The difference for me is that when I say that I've got thousands of people that it's successful with, this is very rare. I've had maybe 5 people have to up their dosage.
Now, clearly, I agree with you that taking this medication is better than even the short-term effects
it's
of
better than
heavy
going
drinking.
off of it and then
right,
getting
but
drunk.
I do have to say, you're talking about really something that's effectively changing your dopamine system, which we really don't know completely yet what the long-term effects of this is, right?
Yes, there's been over 90 clinical trials of long-term studies, and there's been people on it for very long periods of time. And there's never. You hear about people overdosing on aspirin. You don't.
Sure.
People don't overdose on naltrexone. I've never heard of somebody suddenly getting a complicated brain issue or manic depressive because of naltrexone. They've been using low-dose naltrexone for neurological disorders since the 1960s.
Right.
This is a drug that's been around forever. It's been used in MS, in fibromyalgia. People have been on it for 30, 40 years.
What
There's
is
nothing wrong with it.
fibromyalgia, by
Nobody's
the way?
really sure.
What is fibromyalgia? I
No,
always
the
hear
one
that.
that gets
That's a
me
very
is,
debatable
the one
disease.
that gets me is the one where the fatigue syndrome.
Chronic
chronic
fatigue.
Yeah.
Chronic fatigue syndrome.
Yeah, what is that?
That's called you work too
I
much.
hate to say I've used. No, I haven't used it. And if you just tuned in, you're listening to Clean Radio. So give us a call. The number is
I drink 20 cups of coffee a day. I don't know why I'm tired all the time.
The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. We have a very interesting. I love that we have Claudia Christian, and you're always welcome back, because I love that more than anything. You're trying to help people. You have your experiences.
And taking a stand that's not easy to take.
It's not easy to take. It's not.
Yeah.
And I think the hardest thing is that for people to wrap their heads around it.
Absolutely.
That's I think really one of the most difficult things with this, because we all have our personal experiences. And your personal experience is very different in some ways. Your career, your life, that is very different than a lot of people. So I think that's the hard thing, is just wrapping your head around it. But a lot of times, because people can't wrap their head around things, they shun it.
Listen, it took Lister how many years to convince people to wash their hands?
Yeah.
Right? That would create a lack of deaths from infection. And it took how long for Pasteur to get the rabies vaccine approved? 10 years. Someday, I hope in my lifetime, people will say, oh, do you have an extra pill? I forgot mine.
What scares me now is people have stopped taking basic vaccinations.
Yes.
Now we got polio coming back.
It's don't get me started on that one.
All I'm saying is, listen, as I said in my slogan, options save lives. And if there is another option out there for X amount of people, then I'm the one. Even if somebody says you're crazy or you're nuts, I'm the one that's going to stand up and say, let's try the Sinclair method on you, because you've tried everything else, and I don't want you to die.
That's completely. And if you, like I said, if you just tuned in, you're listening to Clean Radio, and I love how you're helping people. And I wanted, the last time you were in studio, we also brought in somebody that's helping people. And tonight I figured Claudia's on it. We have to do the same, The last time you were helping somebody, we had a guest that's helping people, and tonight we have that too. I'd like to welcome to Clean Radio Ashley Graber, and who's got an amazing cause, who's a therapist, who's really dedicated and dedicated her life to helping people if they have money, if they don't have money, and a better person in the world. I don't think you can meet than people that are trying to give it away. So let's welcome to Clean Radio, Ashley Graber.
Hi.
How are you? You got to get into the microphone a little bit.
Okay.
Don't be so nervous. A lot of people are watching, and
Millions and millions.
if it helps you, do what I do. Imagine Claudia naked.
Yeah.
And
It's funny, I imagined you naked.
please.
with Larry King.
With Larry King. Thank you.
And you're still in the room. That's scary.
And Andrew. You got to combine Andrew. So, Ashley.
I'm just like a panda bear with no fur. So I just want to put that out there.
See, Ashley, like I said, we have fun here, and you have a cause coming. You're tell us a little bit about what you do.
I work at the Antioch University Counseling Center, and we give low-fee and no-fee therapy to the community. We have an in-house therapy at the counseling center in Culver City. We also have a number of community-based programs that we run. We have 5 different programs in the city. One for seniors, we have an LGBTQ youth program. We also have a school-based program where we go to elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools and give free therapy on site.
Andrew, that's an amazing thing. And Andrew is a huge advocate for mental health. And when I told him about your project, and you have this charity event coming up, and to raise money so people could get help, because that's how it works. And everybody thinks out there, because of certain programs that have gotten passed recently, Andrew, that means that everybody's going to get help, and that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people also, even with, even with Obamacare and other things that have come out, people don't really still know what to look for. Like, your average citizen doesn't know what an EOB is, which is explanation of benefits for insurance. So they just look at like the 4 little criteria for insurance, and they don't realize that there's extensive explanations of benefits, and some for mental health and some aren't. And Parity Act hasn't kicked in yet, which is going to require employers of over 50 employees to actually have some parity of mental health and substance abuse insurance. So we still see this huge gap of people that really don't have money or access to care.
So you're actually, you're the bridge. You're bridging that gap, and you're trying to help people. You're trying to get the message out there. So when is the charity event?
The charity event is June 8th at the Improv, and we are having a wonderful lineup of comedians.
It's the Hollywood Improv?
Yes.
On Melrose?
It is,
Okay.
the Hollywood
There's a couple.
Improv. Yeah. Yes, and it's on June 8th.
And you're going to have a silent auction there?
We are.
So how can you buy tickets?
I can't imagine comedians having a silent auction.
That's actually pretty funny. So how do we get tickets? How do we do this?
You can actually do it through the Improv, and I don't have the...
It's improv.com.
Yeah, improv.com.
I actually brokered that deal. Long story. Anyway.
Oh.
And that you made short. And so how? Claudia, good one. And so so go to improv.com. And how much are tickets?
The tickets are $100.
And that enters you into the silent auction, or enters you into the Improv?
Well, it enters you into the Improv. The silent auction, anybody can come and walk through and bid on anything that they want.
Have you ever won a silent auction?
Yeah.
Were you the only name on the list?
What did you win?
No, I won some trip that I never took.
And
I don't know.
There's nothing more depressing than when you go to a silent auction and there's nothing
you want to bid on,
or there's no signatures. There's no bids.
Yeah.
So what are we gonna do? How do we Andrew? What are we gonna do? How are we gonna help? How are we gonna help her out?
Any way we can.
Any way we can. So we're gonna offer you our full services of our public relations expert, which is Monique Moss. And we're also going to make...
Isn't that her offering?
Yeah, that's actually...
I like how Judah's offering.
You should see Monique in the background.
She's like,
here.
thanks a lot.
Thanks again.
And
Monique.
Monique's going to do... Monique is the best publicist
She is.
in the greater Los Angeles area. And I always used to say east of La Cienega.
Why
but
didn't you say in America?
In America.
She's
You know
the
what?
best publicist we've ever
Integrated
had.
PR, she is the... That's not
Integrated
hard.
PR is the
But she, but she
What do you
is
mean
the
that's
best.
not hard? We've been through like 20.
No, but we've been through... Right.
And she has to make us look good.
She is. Yeah, that's
a
exactly
challenging
right.
job.
She is the best publicist in the world. She's from Integrated PR, and Andrew's going to actually come down. Andrew's definitely going to get some tickets for the silent auction.
Yeah, we'll buy a bunch and donate them out to people.
How do we actually? Could we buy a table from KLEAN Treatment Center?
You can. You can.
Well, we'll do that. So we
We're-
talked about it after the show.
Yeah, we're actually going to figure that out, that we could buy that. And everybody's got to do this, because you know what? There are kids out there, and you were telling me this story about you treating a 5-year-old kid, and you know, he was doing very well now.
Yes.
And had he not had the availability of free treatment, or of, you know, a free treatment, who knows where that kid would be today. So this is a really important thing.
It is, and there's a lot of people out there who can't afford therapy, you know, and we offer it to anybody that needs therapy. In we actually even have an international counseling center where we have therapists who speak in many languages, but most importantly in Farsi, which is really important in Los Angeles.
Absolutely.
Do you do couples counseling?
We do.
Andrew?
No, you
and I
You would be a couple.
There's no way to fix us, Judah.
We're bent, not broken. And that's one of my favorite songs out there by Pink and Nate Russ. And I was listening to that for about 3 months
I think you
straight.
just ruined my relationship, by the way.
And you just tuned in, you're listening to Clean Radio. I want everybody out there that's listening, and we have fans all over, go to facebook.com/Clean Radio. We're going to post a link to this because it is important. And it's important that, you know, we always deal with people at the end. You know, and Claudia, you do too. You know, people that are, you know, you deal with the happy drinkers, but we deal.
I deal with the sad drinkers too. That's not fair.
And we deal with the sad drinkers. But we always deal with.
I detect jealousy, Judah, that you didn't get to use the Sinclair method. I feel like you want to relapse just so you can start drinking and using now tricks.
Risk reward.
Yeah, risk reward. Not worth
the
it.
risk.
Yeah.
And but you know, in the end, we get to the people when they're, you know.
When they're desperate.
When they're desperate.
Yeah.
And the goal in therapy is that people don't have to get to that desperate time. That this 5-year-old kid could be saved. So I want everybody out there to, you know, to really, to, you know, one of my favorite charities always growing up, I never gave to it, but I always loved their mission, you know, was the Sally Struthers. You know, for 56 cents a day, you could save a starving kid. And people don't realize, though, if everybody gives $2. Yeah. You know, if everybody gives $3, you know, that's a lot of money. And so it's important to do. How do people find it again?
To find the counseling center?
Counseling center, yes.
If you go to antiochla.edu, which is ANTIOCHLA.edu.
We'll post that on our website, too, because that's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
Yeah.
And then, you have to search for AUCC, which is our counseling center, and then it says to donate here. But we can put a link that's maybe a little bit easier.
There's a link on improv.com as well?
I don't know that it's on Improv, but
okay, but you can buy tickets there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're going to buy tickets. We're going to go. Claudia, if Claudia's in town, Claudia,
I might be in Oregon, but if I'm in town,
I think
I'd love to
Judah
go.
just asked you on a date. You know she's engaged.
I was going to ask her and her fiance out.
I didn't hear anything about the fiance when you said that.
And you and your fiance are more than welcome to come with
Thank
Andrew
you.
and I, my
Thank
significant other, to the
I would love a double date with you guys.
Yeah, that would be great.
Lovely.
And it's a night of comedy. It's a night of laughing. And it's sort of cool. You're laughing and you're, you know, because sometimes the best way to get through problems is through laughter. Absolutely. You know, I'm not trying to sound like Patch Adams here, but you know, but people don't realize, you hear these morbid stories and you deal with it. We all deal with it. And Ashley, I'm sure you deal with it too. You know, just you hear such sadness, and sometimes the best way through it is you got, you know, one of my favorite things about 12-step meetings is that you people share the most depressing stories, but they're laughing, you know, and they're cracking up. It's like, you know, I drove through 10 buildings and I crashed, but nobody died, and they're cracking up, you know. So, and you get to laugh and look at stuff.
I don't know if that was the best example.
No, that wasn't. I tried coming up with something really quickly, and I
would say the SD strain of herpes stories are better, but whatever.
Yes, that was.
That's a little shout out for those who know are in the know.
Got a guy that's been on hold for 15 minutes.
That reminds me. We got to get to Todd, because
Really?
Andrew, last week you missed.
I was out of town. Yeah.
Todd is one of our favorite callers. Ashley.
We missed Amy's call too.
We missed a bunch. And if you're familiar with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, the movie, Todd's actually in the institution.
He's like become a regular spot on our
Somebody
show.
from Vancouver.
But here,
gave
yes,
up after 15 minutes.
but here's the thing.
I felt bad.
Last week, Todd had his roommate called in. So
Right.
we have Todd and Rob now.
Todd and Rob?
And Todd tried calling in after Rob, and
Okay.
I felt bad, so I don't want to create a competition. So Todd, you got a couple seconds. Todd, how you doing?
Is this Judah?
Yes, this is Todd.
Hey, and
I'm
Sandro.
I'm surprised you didn't say anything about Longfellow.
Longfellow.
That must
Oh,
be
you
an
mean
inside joke.
No, from
Shakespeare, Longfellow, and
Oh.
Larry King.
Oh. Wow, Todd's got jokes too.
Yeah.
We should just become like the sexually inappropriate comedy hour.
Yeah.
Todd. How's Rob? Todd, how's Rob?
Oh, it's his name's Justin. He's doing all right. He likes to burn houses down every day, though.
Yeah, he's sentenced.
Oh, that's what he did?
He's
He was-
actually sentenced to 25 years.
He's
So
an
Todd's-
arsonist?
So Todd's only there for 7.
Wow.
No,
So-
he's got borderline personality disorder, but I just tease him about burning houses down because that's a lot of them do that.
Wait, so you're in a mental hospital and you're telling another patient that burning houses down would be funny.
Todd is not a great. So yeah, you might not want to antagonize a person in a mental.
Yeah, he might burn you down.
Yeah.
You know?
Todd, you're okay though.
Yeah, I'm doing really good. I'm getting. They're transferring me over to the medium security pretty soon,
That's great.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And remember, you got to put us on your list to come and visit you, Todd.
yeah.
And
Do you get to use what's the difference? Do you get like metal forks and knives now, or?
Well, yeah, you get to go to the cafe and.
Oh, cool. I'm so
get
excited
more-
to go tour this hospital.
Yeah.
By the way, you're in Salem, right? So we're going to be up
Yeah.
there probably in a couple months. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'll
You
try
gotta
to
put
figure
us
out
on
how
the
to get
guest
you guys
list.
On
Yeah.
the guest list and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, well, without a doubt, Todd, it'll be one of
We'll
the
need your
experiences of my
patient
life.
number.
I've
And
been big book thumping lately.
that's great. And Todd, say hi to Claudia.
Hi, Claudia.
Hi,
it's really
Todd.
great that you're able to give this alternative therapy because it's really hard to get sober.
Yeah.
And just so you know,
Thank
Todd,
you, Todd.
Claudia is actually going to be in your area. She's shooting a TV show in there pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm
and,
going to be in Oregon.
and
I'm going
so
to send you a little love from.
If she passes the facility, she might come and stop by.
absolutely.
that would
And
be awesome.
that would be great. I'm just booking Claudia out all over America.
I'm going to be in Wilmington and Cannon Beach. I don't think that's anywhere near Salem.
It's actually 2 kilometers away. And,
so full of beans.
it's mile
You're so full of it.
He's mile marker 31. You're mile marker 32.
Yeah, baby.
Todd, we'll talk
I'm
to you
there in
soon.
your moderate. Is it the medium security section?
Medium
Yeah.
security now, yeah.
security.
And you know what's great is
I don't know. Do they have conjugal visits at hospital?
No, honey, it's called a cafe, not a conjugal bed. He didn't say anything about beds. He said a cafe.
Okay, so let's get back to
Okay.
it. I want to thank Ashley Graber for coming in, and we're gonna actually we're gonna run some spots for you to get this going because it's important that people in Los Angeles and all over America, but we could do it right here, right now, and that's what you're doing. Are gonna get free help. We're gonna try to help you as much as we can. Help this silent auction. That's June 8th.
June 8th.
At the Hollywood Improv. That's improv.com. Claudia Christian's going to be back, of course, for our third date. And you know,
Betcha. This is becoming a threesome, honey. Whether you like it or not.
And remember,
There's 5 people in the room.
There's
6
a
people in
very
the room.
big significance in third dates. And I want to thank everybody
Yeah,
out
because
there
Judas only had 2.
that's listening to Clean Radio. I want to thank, go to cleanradio.com facebook.com/Clean Radio. Thank all our fans. Thank you, everybody that makes this show amazing. Discussion continues at cleanradio.com.
Don't let addiction to drugs or alcohol steal another year of your life. KLEAN Treatment Center provides world-class addiction assistance that also treats the underlying causes and provides vital aftercare so people can get clean and stay clean. Live, kind, professional help is standing by to provide immediate assistance or to simply answer questions and provide guidance. If you or someone you care about is suffering from addiction, take action now and make 2014 the best year of your life with KLEAN Treatment Center.